So in my last review, I went pretty hard at what I consider to be the worst anime of 2016. So I figured for this time, let's go the complete opposite. Let's talk about what I consider to be the best anime of 2016. And many of you may be thinking, but Kevin, the year's not over yet. The full season is in full swing. How can you don't you think it's a little bold to make that claim right away? Well, to be perfectly honest, even though I do like about a lot of anime I'm watching this full season, none of them really seem to be connecting with me quite like this series. No other season of anime that I've watched so far this year has contained a show that I thought was no more visually beautiful, had a better story, had a better character, just had an amazing execution, and that show is Yugioh! That's right, people. I'm saying it right now. This anime may look like a cheap, generic, smut ecchi, but I'm telling you, it is ingenious. The simple, annoying characters make for a really great show. The cheap, garbage animation really enhances the visual experience. I'm just fucking with you guys. It's Food Wars. Yeah, no, the reason Food Wars is amazing. There is no way around it. I think this series is absolutely fantastic from beginning to end, and I actually didn't watch it last year when season 1 aired. And, well, that's mostly because I didn't hear anything positive about it. It sounded like just another ecchi that talks about a topic I really don't find that interesting. But after hearing how many people love it and how just great it's been reviewed and all that, I had to see this series for myself when season 2 started this summer. And you know what? Oh my god, did it not disappoint. Everything about this show works just so tightly. And I really gotta put that up to JC Staff, the people who did the show. They really figured out a way to make a subject like cooking that I'm not that interested in really work in a contemporary way that I think will really bring anyone who watches this in. This show is the prime example of why I love anime. This show takes what should be a pretty simple, not that interesting premise and just makes it fantastic. It blows it out of the water by just going for it. It goes full on into what the show is about. It doesn't skip on the smart of the cooking. It doesn't skip on the character development. Everything about this series just works and comes together, and I love everything about it. Well, I've been rambling for about 2.5 minutes. What's the show actually about? The show follows Soma, a young chef who is attending one of the world's most renowned cooking schools. And while he's at this cooking school, he has to partake in what are called shokugekis, which are Food Wars. Basically, they meet in an Iron Chef type competition, or I guess Chopped, or whatever you want to call it, him and his cooking opponent, and they have to cook the best recipes. And what we get are 2 seasons, one's 25, one's 12, of pretty much just outrageous, insane, and delicious looking food with a great set of characters to follow with it. And part of that really does lie on Soma. Lead characters a lot of times can end up being cliche and annoying, and Soma could have been no exception. But what makes this character work is that A, he is very likable, B, he does have faults. Throughout the series, you see that he can be very arrogant, can get very full of himself, but most importantly, the thing I love about Soma is that they make sure to show you he's not just some Mary Sue who's good at everything like a lot of other characters in these types of shows. The thing about Soma is that he has had to work hard. He was basically raised in a diner, so he's been around food his whole life, and they're not afraid to show you that. The show isn't afraid to tell you that, no, you gotta work hard. Soma works incredibly hard in an incredibly challenging task. And the thing is, what I love about it is it's not afraid to do this. It's not afraid to be like, no, he's perfect at everything. No, he works and he comes up with things and we see him fail and we see him learn. That is how you make a character likable. Characters are not likable because they win, but because they try. And this is a prime example of how that works perfectly. Plus, you have a side cast that completely really complements him. I'm not going to go through everyone because there's a shit ton of characters in it. The only other character I'm going to mention in a positive light is Megumi, who is kind of our main girl of the series. At first glance, you think she's going to be like the annoying girl who's meek and needs Soma to save her, but no, she has an amazing arc and probably the best arc I've seen of any anime character all year. She's my favorite character because, what can I say, I have a thing for try-hard characters. And on top of that, the way the series works is great. The animation to this show is absolutely amazing. It's clean, it's crisp, and it's beautiful. But what's really great are the food fights. They have these things called foodgasms. When someone has a food they really like, they have this over-the-top outrageous sort of like, it's an orgasm. It's basically a non-diegetic scene of them going crazy for the food. These could really easily devolve into something really stupid, but they're very clever with how they use it. Yes, if you've heard anything about the show, you know a lot of them are sexual, but a lot of them are also just really outrageous and ridiculous. It keeps it fresh, even though there is sex humor in this. This is how sex humor can be done right. It doesn't force feed it down your throat. It knows to give it to you sparingly. Like a good meal, it knows how to give you what you want and what you need at the same times. The comedy in this is so on point. Again, the really lovable characters, and the animation isn't afraid to be fun. So many times nowadays, these really visually pretty animes don't let themselves really go into craziness, and you don't always need to, but in something like this that is so lighthearted and fun to enjoy, the really fast-paced, enjoyable animation really makes it work. And again, that's just what I love about it. The food looks amazing. The characters are amazing. Everything about this show is so simplistically beautiful. You can never get lost watching this anime. You will always stay on point. And they take a big risk with the cooking stuff. Because the thing is, not everyone understands food. Not everyone understands how to bake a chicken or a quail or whatever. But no, they explain it to you the same way they would on any other cooking show. But the difference is because of the fun animation and the fun characters, I never stopped caring. I never lost interest in how to poach an egg or anything like this. Everything in the show is kept so fun and light and entertaining, and it just works perfectly. Now, are there any problems with this show? Well, in reality, perfection is only when you refuse to acknowledge something's faults, and this series does have a few problems. Some of the pacing's wonky, especially towards the end of each season when they kind of needed to drag story arcs out a bit, and then they started relying a little bit too much on the fan service humor, but that is such a nitpick, especially considering I'm someone who watches a lot of never-ending shonen, so I really can't complain that much. The only other really thing I want to bring up as far as a negative, and for a lot of people this is going to seem like another nitpick and not a problem, but it bothered me. This is Nakari. I've chosen not to remember her name because there's really nothing to remember about this character. This character, a lot of people, they enjoy her, and I understand that, and they like her. She's kind of our rival character in this, our Seto Kaiba, if you will, our Satsuki Kyuuren. Actually, she's a lot like Satsuki Kyuuren, but the thing about her is that she was born with a perfect palate. You put anything on her tongue, she can dissect every bit of the taste. She knows every ingredient, she knows what it was cooked at, all this good stuff. Well, that's also kind of the problem. You see, the thing is, Soma, Megumi, everyone in the show has to work hard, and the show puts a lot into showing them work hard. And the thing is, when you have a character who is just born perfect, born with all her talents, never really had to work at anything, it doesn't really make for a likable or interesting character, and just stands out like a sore thumb. I don't think that's the intention. And on top of that, throughout the course of the show, she is shown to be this spoiled, superior, perfectionist brat. And I think the idea is her grandfather, who's also a really underused character who I'd like to see more from, wants sort of Soma to fix her or help her or whatever. But the thing is that she doesn't get enough screen time because we have so much focus on our other two leads that whenever she does show up, it feels really out of place and really out of the show's tone. On top of that, whenever she's on screen, she's just so mean and screaming. And I get she doesn't like Soma or anyone for that matter, but everyone is always so nice to her and she's just so awful. And for some random reason, she has a secretary. Like a good example of this is one of the show's more unliked characters. I know I said I wasn't bringing anyone else up. Is this girl named Alice. People find her annoying, they find her bratty. I like this character. Okay, I don't know why she's albino, but the thing is that, again, she works hard. A character doesn't necessarily need to be someone you love to be a good character. You just need to understand them and be able to relate to them. That is why this girl here works, because her big thing is she has a rivalry with Nakari or whatever her frickin' name is, and that's her big thing. She wants to overbeat who is her cousin, and the thing is, I was okay with this because, again, she had a goal. She was working towards something. When a character is trying hard, that is very important to me. This girl is just not trying. She's just been born perfect. She got all her gifts. She didn't have to work at anything. And I know that can't possibly be how this works, because obviously she's had a lifetime of training. They try to sort of set up that she's been put on a pedestal so long. She's supposed to be an unlikable brat. That's the point. But the thing is that, again, she doesn't have enough focus for me to really be able to like her, and she's just really unpleasant. This might get fixed later down the line because the show is not over. The manga is still going, but I really want people to know about the show, and I would really like for everyone to check this out because it's such an amazing series. Everything about it is just so perfect. I even have started reading the manga just to see this, along with Berserk, my paycheck's running slim here. But again, like I said, I think it's a all in all, amazing, fantastic series. If you ever want to show someone why anime is great, show them this show. It's cool, it's relatable, it's likable. But what did you think? In the comment section below, give me your thoughts on Food Wars, what you liked, what you didn't like about it, and as always, click to like and click to subscribe so we can get talking about those full shows I was talking about.